Hello everyone, and welcome to Wayland Student Press Network's live coverage of Wayland Varsity Lacrosse. I'm Gabe Leikerman. Alongside me is Aditya Welling, and we're getting ready for an exciting matchup between the Wayland Warriors and the Boston Latin Wolfpack. So Aditya, Wayland have been on a tear lately, winning the last 3 games and 5 of their last 6. How do you think they're going on this amazing run?
Yeah, well, Gabe, obviously you want to give Wayland all the credit in the world for going out there, winning all these games. Each one, by the way, about all their 5 of the last 6 wins have been by at least 11 goals, which is just astounding when you think about it. They scored 17 goals in 2 of their past 3 games, and their last game they shut out this team that they're about to play 14-0. So yeah, no doubt they've been on a tear. I would put it to 2 things. Number one, I think it's Wayland really finding the groove. I mean, we commentated a little while back a game against Bedford, where they started out kind of slow, but they just took over, and their best players really showed out. Obviously, we know Dante Coppola and Alex Mealy on defense. So they've just been their top players have played that way. And also, I would say, not to discredit them, but they've played some weaker competition recently in terms of record-wise. We don't want to disrespect any of the teams, but yeah. We know that this Boston Latin team is 1-9. I believe they played Cambridge Latin, who are 1-8. So I'd say it's a mixture of a lot of things, but no doubt you want to give Wayland all the credit they deserve, and let's see if they can pick up another W here.
Yeah, this is Will Monroe for Wayland on this face-off to get this game started.
Yeah, Gabe, I remember a little while back we commentated the game, and Monroe pretty much won every face-off I can remember. I don't remember one that he missed, which is just insane when you think about it.
And this ball is going to go behind the net here, and then Boston Latin will take possession. They're going to take it up the field here, and this will roll out of play. I believe it'll be Wayland ball, because it was a pretty errant pass from Boston Latin.
Yeah, but you see there, Gabe, an early chance. Monroe just wins the faceoff pretty easily, cuts through the defense, and Wayland gets what looked like going to be an easy shot opportunity there, just not able to convert.
There's Carr, passes it out. They're going to move this ball around, try to get it goal. Back to Carr. Carr going to swing it to Billy Cosart. Billy Cosart back out to the 40.
Yeah, I'm not too sure who number 6 there is.
I think it's Shane DeRubis, who rips a shot, and this one's going to be no good. Billy Cosart gets the rebound, but actually Boston Latin will take it from him. They're going to run up the floor, but Wayland actually takes it back.
Yeah, this game starts out all in Boston Latin zone. Not the way they want to start it after an embarrassing performance last game they played Wayland in a 14-0 shutout, as we discussed. So let's see if they can pick it up.
Now here's Coppola behind the net. You mentioned earlier he is the star player of this Wayland team. He's going to rip a shot and score. A narrow angle for Dante Coppola, but that doesn't matter. He makes the score 1-0, and Wayland scores early.
Picking up right where you left off, Gabe. I mean, everyone on the field right now knows who the best player on the field is, and that's Dante Coppola. He's just insane. Made some great goals last time we watched him. A 7-goal performance against Bedford a little while back. So, yeah, nothing new here for Wayland, and a quick lead.
Now Will Monroe, who actually won the last faceoff, as you mentioned earlier, Aditya, he is now back up to the plate, and he's going to win. He's going to get it over to Boston Latin's side, and he won it. He has the ball right now. He's going to take it up. He's to the 30, 25-20. He's going to take it, kicks it out to, not quite sure who that is, but now the ball is with Chris Monroe, Will Monroe's younger brother, actually. This will go behind the net. It'll stay Wayland ball.
Yeah, Chris Monroe, one of the few underclassmen, a sophomore, who gets significant playing time on varsity. It just shows, how good he is and how much the coaches trust him. And right now, number 17, Billy Cosart with the ball. He rips a shot.
And this one will go just wide, and Boston Latin's goalie gets it. And now James Waldron gets the ball, and he's going to take it up to the 35. He's to the 30, looking for a teammate to pass the ball to, move it upfield, and he does. Gets it to,
I believe, Chris Monroe there.
And now Monroe rips a shot, and this is going to be off target. It'll stay Wayland ball. Coppola runs closest to the ball. Now Coppola behind the net. Passes it to Billy Cosart. Cosart passes it to Waldron.
Yeah, and Gabe, I don't think the ball's been in Wayland's zone at all so far early in this game, and it's just totally Wayland, and you see they're calm on offense, picking it out, trying to get it to their best players, finish it in.
And here's a shot, and this will go wide left. It'll stay Wayland ball.
Yeah, Dylan DeRubis tried to rip a shot there, didn't go through, but Wayland keeps it.
And this shot will bounce right in front of goal and go out. It'll stay Wayland ball again, and this Wayland is doing a really solid job, not really hitting too many of their shots, but they're keeping the ball in Boston Latin zone. And here's Dante Coppola back out to, can't quite make out who that is.
I believe that's Dylan DeRubis.
That is Dylan DeRubis. He's going to take it 40, 35, 30. He's going to rip a shot here. No, he's not. He's going to pass it. Waldron. It's going to be
Saved there by Wolfpack goalkeeper.
And he's going to air this one out. This will go out of bounds.
Yeah, it just looks like Boston Latin is on their heels so far, pretty much the entire game. A few times they've gotten it, they've thrown it out of play, just trying to, kind of like in soccer when you clear the ball, they're just trying to make sure that another tirade doesn't happen like last time. Try to stop a big goal performance here from Wayland.
That was just a really errant pass. Not sure if that's what you want if you're Boston Latin. Give the ball right back to Wayland. Here's Monroe. Will Monroe, that is. He's going to take it behind the net. Passes it to DeRubis, Dylan DeRubis. Two sets of brothers on this team. And I believe
it's Coppola with the ball right now.
Oakla.
And he shakes a man.
And that was a great save by the Boston Latin goalie, and it'll stay Wayland ball. And I believe that might be Nathan Mazakopis in the game. Nathan Mazakopis, you can obviously recognize him from the red helmet. And now 35, that is Chris Kiernan. And we're seeing some JV players get into the game early at ETS. So what do you think that does?
Yeah, Gabe, we talked about this last game. Obviously, Wayland didn't have as big a lead early on, but once they got it, so at the end of the game, some JV players, some underclassmen getting in. And early on, it looks like they're getting a lot in. To be honest, Gabe, this for me is more of a Boston Latin question, because if I see guys that I know are not regular starters on a team coming in this early in the game, I don't feel very good. I feel kind of disrespected if I'm a Boston Latin player. So let's see how they respond to this. But in terms of Wayland's side, yeah, just trying to get some fresh faces, trying to see who can play, who can't. Not who can't, but who they can trust going forward as the program moves on past this year.
Yeah, and Nathan Mazakop is known for that red helmet. I just see that from a mile away, and I spotted it. This pass to Kiernan. Kiernan to, can't quite see the number. That's DeRubis. Goes back to. This ball is gonna roll. It's not going to get there, out of bounds, and this will be Wayland ball, it looks like. So Kiernan will take this one out. Here's DeRubis making a man miss, and it's a save by the Boston Latin goalie. Great play.
Yeah, Boston Latin goalie early on has had some great plays. Fortunately, we don't have his name, but yeah, he's really kept Boston Latin in this game early on.
Boston Latin try to work this, but Dante Coppola playing amazing defense. This will go out of bounds. It'll be Wayland ball.
Yeah, he just does it all on the field there, Gabe. Has his impact, has his fingerprints all over the game, both offensively and defensively.
Coppola to Carr. Carr to someone.
I can't quite see the number there. But right now with Dylan DeRubis.
DeRubis showing that burst of speed. He gets to the outside and he almost gets the goal there. Coppola. Oh, that's not Coppola, that's Billy Cosart, who's able to get the missed shot. He loses the ball. Great defense from Boston Latin there, ripping the ball loose. Oh, here's DeRubis. He just misses again. And this will stay Wayland ball as Cosart with great hustle to become the closest player to the ball. Now Carr with the pass to the top to Shane Derubis. And now the ball is loose. Wayland will keep possession. Ryan McDonald can roll. Will Carr fumbles it. He gets his own fumble. He's gonna look for a teammate to pass to instead of going to Coppola, who's marked by a defender. Kicks it out to,
I believe that's Ryan McDonald.
and it is Ryan McDonald. He's gonna look, and it's gonna be saved by the goalkeeper. Boston Latin goalkeeper, despite letting in a goal early, has been very impressive in this contest. And now Wayland will keep possession as the ball went out of bounds.
And it looks like, at least right now, it looks like it's mainly varsity players in there. We saw some JV players.
And
it's a goal by Ryan McDonald.
Ryan McDonald puts it in, goes around the net from the left side. Just too close for the Boston Latin goalie. He's been having a great game so far. His defense really just not helping him out. Wayland 2-0.
Yeah, and you see, as soon as he scores there, looks like we get some more underclassmen in there. Chris Monroe just came in, and Michael Boschetto, number 47. I don't know if he's a regular starter, but yeah. It looks like as Wayland builds their lead, or if they're able to build a lead, I should say, Wayland's coaches will try to get some younger players in there.
This is a rare, almost face-off loss from Will Monroe, but there's Chris Monroe, younger brother, gets the rebound from that face-off, as you could say. Gives it back to his older brother, Will Monroe.
It looks like he's going to keep it.
Loses it, gets it back, beats his defender, rips a shot wide left. I think this will stay Wayland ball.
Yeah, he's tried to shoot it a couple times early on, but regardless of that, Wayland's just staying in the Boston Latin zone, hustling to the ball, trying to keep it in Boston Latin zone, I should say, and done a good job early on.
While we're talking about Chris Monroe, in that Bedford game that we last commentated together, DJ, he actually got injured. I don't know if you remember that. He hurt his index finger on one of his hands. Can't quite remember which one, but he hurt it. It was taped up. It's been taped up for really this whole time. This is the first time he's actually playing without the wrap. He's getting back into it, and he was hurt. Glad to see he's okay.
Yeah, lacerated index finger, I believe, was the diagnosis, quote unquote. And now he has the ball right now, and he's ripped a couple of shots. He has not been shy so far early on about getting the ball on net, and he looks determined to score coming back from that injury. I believe he missed, I don't think it was more than 1 or 2 games, but he definitely missed at least one. So coming back here, and you see number 4 there, Alex Mealy, who was just dominant in the Bedford game that we commented the last time. He's not had much to do early on, considering the fact that the camera's been focused on the Wolfpack zone this entire game, because that's really where the ball has been. But yeah, Wayland just overall dominating. Let's see if they continue.
And here's a rebound. It's going to be picked up by Chris Monroe.
And it looks like 27 is in right now. I believe it's the first time Taylor Sue. And Monroe with another shot. He's just aggressive early on, trying to get the ball on net. And that's obviously a good sign if you're Wayland.
When we talk about this shooting, I don't see why not rip a couple shots, considering in lacrosse the rule is if you miss a shot, the person closest to the ball when it goes out, the team with the player that's closest to the ball, keeps it. And if you see a guy on your team, that's why Wayland has someone behind the net. You see a guy that's wide open, sitting behind the net, you know he's going to be closest to the ball no matter if you miss or if you score. So you keep the ball regardless.
Yeah, but you do have to say early on, I know the ball has been in Boston Latin's zone, but Boston Latin is really clamped up on defense. I mean, they're hustling, and I think it's a timeout called on the field, but Boston Latin's been hustling. They haven't let guys inside without 2-3 bodies on them. They've, stick-checked a lot. So you can tell they're not trying to get embarrassed again like last time. They're really focusing in and trying to make sure this game stays low scoring.
And I know the big show of this game has been the offensive Wayland, obviously. This game has taken place really just in Wayland's zone. I think Boston Latin got to Wayland 40. They've barely been in there. But the defense still has got to get credit. Give credit where credit's due. And you know what we're going to talk about. It's Alex Mealy. He's sort of like the captain of the defense. And he just looks so much bigger and stronger than all the other offensive players that he gets, and he just absolutely kills them. Aditya, if Boston Latin does end up getting into the Wayland zone, which I'm sure they will throughout this game, how do you think they get around Alex Mealy and his amazing defense?
Yeah, well, Gabe, that's going to be hard because he sprints all over the field. There's not a play that he's not involved in when it comes to Wayland's defensive zone. So, I mean, they're going to have to design, I guess, different plays on the fly, really, to get the ball to one side, flip it over quickly, and try to get a quick shot on net. But they're going to need to be able to shoot from outside. They're going to need, I think, some lucky bounces, not to discredit them at all, but considering the fact it was a 14-0 shutout last time, Boston Latin is not going to win this game unless they are able to hit shots that are just flat out difficult, because Alex Mealy and that Wayland defense is not going to let them get in many times. So, a 2-0, honestly, if I'm Boston Latin right now, I'm pretty happy with how this game is played so far. I know it's been in Boston Latin zone the entire game. We talked about they haven't been past even the 40, but just the fact it's low scoring and they've clamped down on the middle of their defense. I know Wayland's missed some close shots, but those have been from behind the net, pretty difficult shots, difficult angles. But yeah, if I'm Boston Latin, I'm trying to slowly build a momentum towards our side, get to the Wayland zone, and then you just have to count on some difficult shot makers.
All right, Wayland will start with the ball.
And some new faces in are, as you can see, Dylan DeRubis, who is a mainstay, and I believe in the back, Coppola is obviously a mainstay. But Chris Kiernan, I believe, is in. Nathan Mazakopoulos, who we saw earlier with the red helmet. And if Kiernan comes off quickly. But yeah, Boschetto is in. And someone on the far side, I believe that's Billy Cosart. But yeah, Wayland's trying to cycle in some new faces early on.
Now Boston Latin touching the ball, and they're going to swing this into the Wayland zone, and it'll go out of bounds. A couple times we've seen that errant pass from Boston Latin out of bounds, and this will stay Boston Latin ball, actually. Actually, I think it went off of a Wayland player. And now Boston Latin will take this furthest they've been into Wayland zone all game.
Yeah, let's see how Boston Latin sets up their offense here. As a guy at the top hounded by, I believe, Michael Davis Francis, who we didn't get to see in that last game. But just knowing him from basketball, just a tenacious defender, a hustler. So no surprise that he's hounding Boston Latin early on in the first episode, I guess, of Boston Latin in the Wayland zone.
Now Wayland will take this. This is Michael Davis Francis. He's going to sprint up the field. He shakes off a hit. He's going to try to maneuver himself. He gives it up to number 40, which is Theo Melman.
Yeah, Theo Melman, another one that we didn't see, I believe, last game. So, see if Wayland's able to, gel together with this relatively, new group. Obviously, they've probably practiced a million times together, but not many game reps. As Carr gets through the defense, and works it back out to Ryan McDonald, who scored a goal early on.
McDonald going to take his defender one-on-one. He rips a shot. It's going to go off of Coppola.
I believe Coppola, yeah. He looks like he's limping a little bit.
He's shaken up by that shot. That shot looked hard. And if you've ever felt a lacrosse ball before, and there's a flag that flies, and we're going to wait to see the call. But yeah, if you've ever felt a lacrosse ball, they're hard, and seeing how fast Ryan McDonald just swung his stick on that shot, that was probably a really hard hit that he just took. Hopefully he's okay, and I'm sure he will be. Probably just a little shock there.
Yeah, no doubt he did swing his stick really fast, so yeah, looks like that probably hurt Dante Coppola a lot. But yeah, it looks like he shook it off. He's obviously, big kid, tough kid. So, he was able to shake that off, and I believe he's in the game right now, if I'm not mistaken. But regardless, he looked like he was running a little bit after that, so it doesn't look too serious. Obviously, we hope it's not too serious. And just looking in the Boston Latin zone for the first time, or in the Wayland zone, deep in the Wayland zone for the first time, we'd be remiss to not mention Wayland's goalkeeper, Matt Morris, who who was excellent in that last game against Bedford that we commentated. and has just been great all year. Obviously, a 14-0 shutout doesn't just reflect on the offense; it reflects on the goalkeeper. And Matt Morris, a shutout is unprecedented in lacrosse. So he's had a great season, and let's see if he can continue against lacrosse against Boston Latin. As I don't know who has it right now. I believe
Dylan DeLubis will take this to the right side of the goal.
Yeah, you can tell he has the black helmet with the red face mask, so a lot of distinct, equipment to tell players apart here. As
a big hit from a Boston Latin defender. No foul called to the referee. Boston Latin, he's gonna
stoppage of some kind has occurred. I believe it's a timeout.
I don't know if it's a timeout or not, because this could be the end of the first quarter, and it is.
Yeah.
End of the first quarter. Wayland 2, Boston Latin 0. And we saw this in Bedford, something similar. Wayland starting off kind of slow and then absolutely erupting in the mid-quarters, in quarter 2 and quarter 3. So, Nietzsche, could this happen again, you think?
I mean, again, like we talked about the first timeout, if I'm Boston Latin, I still love where I am. Only if I'm comparing it to the last game. You never want to see you never want to have a shutout in the first place, especially not 14-0. But I believe even worse than that, he's playing a team again and having the same result. So the fact that it's 2-0 right now, Wayland, I know they've gotten a lot of opportunities, and the camera has stayed in the Boston Latin defensive zone pretty much the entire game. But you saw later in the quarter there, Boston Latin got some opportunities. They were closer to the Wayland zone. I believe they got one shot. It was wide, obviously, but they're building momentum. And if I'm the Wayland coach right now, I'm telling my players, we've obviously seen that more underclassmen, more JV players are getting in, so you can tell they're not playing their best lineup. But don't let your foot off the gas. Don't underestimate this team, because they don't want the same result as last time, and they're coming. You can see they're much more energized and hungry compared to last time. So yeah, if I'm Wayland, I got my work cut out for me, because this team isn't laying down.
And you talk about this late in the year. We're already in close to mid-June, so school is almost out. And for the seniors, actually, school has been over for a couple weeks now. And we obviously have some seniors on the lacrosse team, so they come back for sports, but they do not go to school because they are done with their high school careers and off to the next chapter of their life. And hopefully they have successful collegiate careers, whether they're playing lacrosse. I know Dylan DeRubis actually recently got recruited to play lacrosse somewhere, but I saw a bunch of Instagram posts about it, people congratulating him, including his brother Shane DeRubis, who's very supportive of his brother. And yeah, hopefully they have successful collegiate careers, whether it's on the lacrosse field or in the classroom studying.
Yeah, no doubt, Gabe. Obviously, we wish we could tell you exactly who is continuing their lacrosse careers. I'm sure you're interested in that in terms of seniors, but even though we can't, as we see the field switch here, or side switch, I should say, yeah, great career for all the seniors, and I don't know if senior night has occurred yet. I don't know when it is, but regardless of that, as another save by the Boston Latin goalkeeper, he's just been keeping his team in the game so far. But yeah, Gabe, I'm not sure if you know. Do you know when a senior night is for the varsity lacrosse teams?
Yeah, I believe it's actually already happened. Senior night happened. I believe the game right after. I believe it happened against Cambridge Ridge and Latin, which was the game before their first matchup against Boston Latin, in which Wayland won the game 17-5. So
another timeout here, and that's good to know, Gabe. So they've already been celebrated. Their great careers here at Wayland, and as this season comes to a close, don't know how many games are left, but yeah.
I was actually looking at the yearbook today, and I was looking at the superlatives. Obviously, superlatives seniors vote on who's most likely to do what in their class, and Philip Natus, who's a defensive player for Wayland, number 5. He was an honorable mention for almost every single award. It was pretty crazy. It just shows how much he's liked among his classmates, and he was an honorable mention for most athletic. So he clearly has an athletic background, athletic prowess, and he shows that on the lacrosse field. And now the timeout is over. Really early timeout. The quarter seems to have just started, but really short one too, as players are back on the field, and I think it'll be Wayland who will start with the, actually, no, I think it's Boston Latin who starts with the ball.
Yeah, Gabe, as we take a look at this lineup out here early on, it looks like all varsity players again. I know we saw early on some more underclassmen in there, but right now you see Coppola, you see Will Monroe. Back there I saw Alex Mealy, and like you talked about, Philip Nazis. And in the back right now, I believe it's Dylan DeRubis with the ball, and Carr comes into the frame. So yeah, the Wayland coach seems to know that Boston isn't playing around this time, and you know they're going to need their best players in there to secure a W.
Yeah, they can have their chance if Wayland goes up. The junior varsity players can have their moments later on. Is this one?
I believe that's Monroe. I believe that was Chris Monroe again, who rips another shot. I believe that's 5 or 6 already in the game. Just ultra aggressive as Coppola has the ball, and he forces the Boston Latin keeper to make another save, and he does. Monroe gets a rebound, rips another shot. This time it's Will Monroe, and I believe it's Wayland ball. And you see they reach their sticks out as the ball goes out of bounds to try to make sure that they're in position to be the closest guy to the ball. And you know, Wayland's consistently been that so far. I believe it's Nazis, or no, Will Carr with the ball right now.
Carr driving through, an amazing run from Will Carr all the way from midfield, running past what seemed to be almost every Boston Latin defender, and he puts it in. A fast shot from Will Carr, making it Wayland 3, Boston Latin nothing.
Yeah, Boston Latin's defense had been solid in the middle throughout this game, or throughout the first quarter so far, but this time just a complete breakdown. I wouldn't even say about breakdown, actually. I'd just say just a brilliant run by Will Carr. You know, he started, got past the first defender, you know, weaved through a couple, made kind of like a swim move like a defensive lineman, threw a couple more, and then just a beautiful finish at the end, right close. And it looks like Monroe loses a face-off. Rare occurrence. I believe it's Boston Latin ball right now as when Will Monroe comes out of the game.
Yeah, and you mentioned Will Carr and football reference. Will Carr is actually a starting receiver for the
Cornerback as well, yeah.
Yeah, for Wayland football, and he was very good. Made a couple catches in the couple games that I commentated. Had the pleasure to commentate. He made a couple good catches and got an interception at one point. So he's a very talented football player, and lacrosse and football very not simple, but they're pretty similar sports. They're both contact, both played on this field with the same yard lines. So fairly similar sport. So you see a lot of NFL players in the NFL today who have lacrosse backgrounds. So you can just see the similarities. I think there's a new goalkeeper. Actually, no, there isn't a new goalkeeper in the game. That is my fault, as Matt Morris will air this one out to a Wayland player. He's going to pass it back and slow this offense down. And
it looks like it is DeRubis, I believe.
No, it's Mealy.
No, it's Mealy, yeah.
Mealy's just going to run through the entire team. Mealy's going to give this one up to
Yeah, you can kind of tell just his size compared to the rest of the players in the field. He just looks bigger, or is bigger, I should say, than everyone else. Taller too. So, as Chris Monroe, who's been aggressive so far in this game, has the ball. He comes through, finds an opening, and he scores.
There he is, Chris Monroe, who's ripped several shots today, by far the most on this Wayland team. He has not put his head down. He's kept it up after all those misses, and it pays off. He extends this Wayland lead to 4 in this second quarter.
Yeah, a little confession here, Gabe. Chris Monroe told me today he promised me a goal after the last game where he didn't score. Gave him a little hard time about it, but today he promised me a goal. I think that's why he's been so aggressive so far. Just ripping a shot every time he got the ball, and finally he gets one through. So good for him after coming back from obviously a minor injury, but you know, never want to be injured at all. So big goal for him, and it's 4-0 Wayland.
Yeah, and I don't know if you viewers watching knew this. Me and Aditya, or DT and I should I say, both sophomores. So Chris Monroe is in our class of 2023. So we talked to him a good amount, and yes, he did. He's an avid lacrosse player, well known as the consensus best in the grade, and he proves it there with a goal on the varsity team.
Yeah, no doubt. And now you see with Wayland building their lead, or doubling their lead, I should say, to 4-0. A lot of more underclassmen in the game. You see Mazakopoulos with the distinct red helmet in there, number 23, and you see number. You see Boston Latin getting in to the zone a little bit. You see Philip Nazis pestering number 5 there, and yeah, let's see how the number of underclassmen grows as Chris Kiernan tries to handle it, but he can't. Boston Latin stays in the Wayland zone. Let's see if they can get on the scoreboard here.
Boston Latin roaming around. I don't know if they've had a shot yet.
I believe they had one near the end of the first quarter. I'm not sure though, but yeah, definitely not had much here as Mealy's just, you know, abusing the player in the back there, just pestering him, trying to get the ball off him. As I don't know if that was a shot or a deflection, but Theo Melman gets the ball. And Gabe, I don't know if this is a common or if it's a purposeful thing. I guess it is, but it looks like Wayland's defensemen have longer sticks than Wayland's midfielders and forwards. So yeah, just observing that here, probably good reason behind that, as they need to stick check and do other things. But this Boston Latin, I believe that was a shot, goes wide. And I believe Mazakopoulos was the closest to it.
And I can confirm, by the way, that is a different goalie in for Wayland. It's number 52 instead of number 12, which is Zach Anzavino, I believe. He's the only other goalie on our roster. So Zach Anzavino getting his first action that I've seen. He's in goal here for Wayland as Matt Morris is going to get a break, the senior for Wayland.
Yeah, no doubt.
Get a rest.
Boston Latin trying to make something happen in the Wayland zone. At least they're in it, you know, you could say. They've been out of it pretty much the entire game. As they leave a Boston Latin player completely uncovered in the back of the goal. So obviously strategic there. Wayland has their own defensive strategy, but looks like it's their ball here, and they'll set up their offense. Coppola, you see on the bottom of the screen.
And here's Will Monroe. He's gonna keep it. Had an open teammate there in Coppola, but he's gonna take this. He's through on goal, and there's Will Monroe, who instead of passing it to the open Dante Coppola, decided to take it himself, and he makes it 5-0 Wayland. Brilliant play.
Yeah, both Monroe brothers have scored here today. Both of them have had their own distinct styles, and both of them have finished with some beautiful goals. There you see Will Monroe just kind of survey the field. He comes all the way across it, beats a defender, avoids a couple of stick checks, and just finishes right over the goalie. Easy shot there at the end, but beautiful play, beautiful design. As you saw, Dante, I don't know if it was on purpose, don't want to say it is if it isn't, but Dante kind of, you know, looked towards him, looked like he was going to pass it and kind of set up the offense, but Dante ducked under, you know, kind of cut through and allowed Will Monroe to get that entire side to himself, and he beats the defender, and now he's in for the face-off.
You know, Will Monroe is going to throw his defender aside.
I believe a foul was called there. But yeah, Will Monroe, a very physical player, and it looks like number 26, Declan Murphy. I believe it's the first time we've seen him so far in this game. I believe that's Declan Murphy. Another sophomore, and I believe it's his first action in the game. So, yeah, some more new faces in for Wayland as Mealy harasses the Boston Latin player behind the goal.
You can see all these hits from Mealy. He is just a pest at the defensive end. You do not want to run at him. And now Boston Latin trying to get it away from him, which they do. Will Monroe hitting with the stick. Zach Anzavino with a great save. Anzavino making a name for himself as the future goalie for this Wayland team, with Matt Morris graduating.
Yeah, and Mealy throws it up. Can't see if it reaches the target, and all of a sudden, and the ball goes out of play. I believe it was Nazis who was running down trying to hit Coppola, if I'm not mistaken. But play didn't finish, but nonetheless, you know, big stop there for Wayland with this 5-0 5-0 lead.
Yeah, and if you're just joining us, you're watching Wayland Student Press Network's live coverage of Wayland Varsity Lacrosse. It's the Wayland Warriors up 5-0 on the Boston Latin Wolfpack. And now Boston Latin will take this up into Wayland territory. Now Boston Latin driving towards the net, an arrogant pass, but Boston Latin tries to get there. Double teamed by Wayland.
Harassed by two of Wayland's most aggressive defenders, Philip Nazis and Michael Davis Francis, just all over Boston there. He had no chance there, and it's just been a pattern for Wayland, hustling to the ball and just, you know, putting as many hits as possible on opposing offensive players. As you see, I believe Shane Derube is coming from the bottom of the screen as Wayland sets up their offense. Carr with the ball right now.
Now Carr making a driving run.
It's a Cope. Looks like Wayland's going to settle down a little here. You know, obviously pretty active early in this period. Try to balloon the lead, and they have successfully as Ryan McDonald tries to go for his second goal.
Now Carr gives it up, and he scores. He gave
I believe
it
it's
up
still
to,
Shane Derubis there, if I'm not mistaken.
that is Shane Derubis, number 6, who is indeed Shane Derubis.
Just a beautiful design there, Gabe. I mean, Ryan McDonald came through a little kind of fake like he was going to drive through and gave it to, I believe it was Carr on the right end, who then, you know, got through defender, tried to get through the middle from kind of the side of the goal. Looked like he was going to try to rip a shot. Instead, gives it to a cutting Shane Derubis. Kind of like a basketball play, really, if you ask me. Kind of feed it into the post and then get a cutting player inside. And just a beautiful finish there. And I believe it was a new face-off player there, Andrew Schiffler. So Will Monroe, first face-off he is not taken as Boston Latin gets in the zone. The player harassed by Alex Mealy there.
Now Wayland,
Philip Nazis, I believe, with the ball right now.
he does have the ball. He's going to go behind the net. But this Boston Latin defender is just all over him. Mealy gets the ball. He's going to send it downfield to
Taylor Sue, I believe.
That is Taylor Shu. He's going to take it up the field. Gives it up to
He was aiming for
Derubis.
Dylan Derubis there, yeah. But Wayland keeps possession. Billy Kosart.
Kosar going to take this up the left side. He's going towards the sideline. And
That's
some hitting going on there.
and Boston Latin comes out.
Now this will be, we have a ref pointing in the Wayland direction, so he's going to stay on the ball. Philip Nazis going to walk away and let Will Monroe take it up. Will Monroe is going to give this up to his brother Chris Monroe. And Chris Monroe.
And yeah, Wayland sets up in the Boston Latin defensive zone again as the
it's a save of the Boston Latin goalkeeper. Boston Latin's going to really take this one up. Boston Latin working it upfield. It's going to be intercepted by Theo Melman, and I believe a foul is called as the play suddenly stops. Yeah, now I think play stops for some reason. And now
yeah, stoppage of play here. Don't know why. Gabe, not gonna lie, kind of spaced out there for a little bit. Do you know why the lead went from 5 to 6? I don't believe I watched that goal.
I think I think that score was already 5-6 with Dylan Derubis.
Oh,
Or
okay.
Shane Derubis.
Yeah, Shane
Didn't say
Derubis.
anything.
Yeah, I just wanted to make
Goal
sure.
Later, and this is going to be a shot from Boston Latin, a rare one at that. Now Boston Latin's gonna take this one. And then Wayland will get this. And they're gonna take it. They're gonna take it up the field here. There's Will Carr.
Carr gives it in to
Mike
I believe
Boschetto.
that's Michael Boschetto, yeah.
Boschetto is gonna pass this one to, not quite sure. Then Billy Kosart gets the ball. Back to Carr. Carr, the defender behind him. He gets stick checked. Carr shrugs it off.
Sets up again here in the Boston Latin defensive zone, and this is what Wayland's used to, trying to set up their offense. They've had a couple good design goals so far here, as I believe Shane DeRubis set up, rips a shot, and Boston Latin keeper saves it and keeps the ball. He's been great. I know the score obviously doesn't show that, but he's been great so far this game, Gabe.
Yeah, he's just had really no disrespect there. Defense. Coppola shrugs it off, but it looks
Foul
like there's
called.
gonna be a foul, but that would have been a great play. But as we're saying, it really just shows it. The defensive play just hasn't been up there, up to par for this team. Now,
Yeah, no doubt, Gabe, and I believe a timeout called. Can't see exactly who it's for, but
oh, and I think it says 5 minutes remaining. Oh, I think it is. I think it might be halftime.
yeah, halftime here. And a 6-0 lead.
6-0 lead for Wayland. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be back with you for the second half. Welcome back to Wayland Student Press Network's live coverage of Wayland Varsity Lacrosse. I'm Gabe Leikerman. Alongside me is Aditya Welling, and we're back for an exciting matchup between the Wayland Warriors and the Boston Latin Wolfpack. Aditya, the Wayland Warriors have taken a commanding 6-0 lead after winning the last game against this squad 14-0, and they're going right back where they left off. Now 20 unanswered goals against this team. How many do you think they'll put up in the second half, and how well do you think they'll do?
Yeah, Gabe, obviously if you're Boston Latin, you want to kind of clamp down. We talked about early on in the first quarter, it was only 2-0. Boston Latin was playing well defensively. Ryan Mack and Dante Coppola, Wayland's probably arguably two best players. They were the only ones to score, and they had some tough goals, tough angles. So since then, in the second quarter, early on, Wayland scored 3 quick goals and made this completely out of hand. Now it's 6-0, on track to be another 14-0 shutout. Obviously, Boston Latin doesn't want to get embarrassed again. So, if I'm predicting, I would say Boston Latin, kind of clamps down a little bit here. Keeps it under 10, but you can't predict anything.
And we'll definitely be seeing some junior varsity players get action. I've already seen Declan Murphy, Chris Kiernan, and Nathan Mazzacopa already get action, along with the new goalie in Zach Anzavino, as Matt Morris got to take a rest really early. But we haven't seen Ryan Desmond yet, who actually scored a goal the last time we commentated, and this is going to be a face-off that is just kind of tied in the middle there between Will Monroe and the Boston Latin player, but it's going to be won by Boston Latin. They're going to have the ball.
Yeah, and that's one of the, recently, Will Monroe in the last game we commentated won every single face-off, but in this game he's lost the last, I think, 2 or 3, so surprising as I believe Michael Boschetto comes up with the ball and gives it out, and can't see who that is.
It's Will Monroe. He's going to take this one commanding up the field, and this is going to be a missed shot there, and Billy Kosart is closest, and now Wayland will keep possession.
Yeah, Billy Kosart has hustled to a lot of loose balls. Every single time the ball has gone out of bounds, Billy Kosart's been closest to it, and that's why Wayland's been able to stay in the Boston Latin zone the entire game.
Billy Kosart back out to Ryan McDonald, who does have a goal here too. He scored the second one of this game for Wayland.
You see Coppola at the top of the screen just waiting. Every single time they try to feed it to him and then get it inside to either Shane, Dylan DeRubis, or Ryan Mack.
It's going to be DeRubis out. This is going to be a loose ball here. That's Ryan McDonald. McDonald out to Monroe. Monroe's going to rip a shot, and that is actually Will Carr. Saw the number 2 there and thought it was Chris Monroe. Camera angle's a little far. But that's Will Carr who scores, getting his second goal of the day, and he puts Wayland up 7-0 early in this third quarter.
Yeah, tough angle there. Couldn't really see how he fit it in. Fit it in through a lot of Boston Latin defenders, but just got, I believe, the far corner of the goal. Low shot, and 7-0 Wayland early in this third quarter. It looks like it could be another shutout here, 14-15-0.
Yeah, just saw the 2 there. I thought it was going to be Chris Monroe for his second goal of the game, but it was actually Will Carr, just the number 2. And now here's Will Monroe in another tough face-off battle with Boston Latin. He's going to lose this one again. Boston Latin's going to take it up the field here. This will roll out of bounds, I think. And this will be Whalen ball.
Yeah, another new face here. I believe 54 hasn't gone in yet. That is Graham Lead. So his first action in the game as Whalen's lead starts to become insurmountable for Boston Latin.
Now here's Will Monroe taking it up. He's at the 25. Gives it up to, I believe that's, can't quite see the number, Billy Cosart, number 7. He's going to get this one out to James Waldron.
Yeah,
Waldron to Monroe.
Chris Monroe they really trust him to start the offense up. He's started a lot of, I guess, sequences for Whalen so far in this game. Scored a goal off one of them.
Monroe loses the ball, gets it back. He's going to lose it again, retains it. Does a great job of knowing where he is, gets stick checked. He's going to try to look for a teammate here. He's getting shut down by this Boston Latin defender. He's actually going to try to beat him. He rips a shot. This is going to go wide right, but Whalen again closest to it, and it'll retain possession.
Yeah, and Gabe, without exaggeration, I believe Chris Monroe, every single time he's touched the ball, has ripped a shot. He's been ultra aggressive. He's tried to score. He's got one of them on net, but that's his at least 7th or 8th shot, as I believe Taylor Shue with the ball right now. He hasn't seen much action, but had a breakaway attempt. Didn't go through.
Taylor Shue getting stick checked by this defender. He's going to try to pass it. Gives it up to Monroe. Monroe gives it to Cosart behind the net. Cosart going to try to switch the field. Keeps it.
You see Chris Monroe waiting for it on the other end as the ball goes behind.
And there'll be a whistle, a stoppage of play here, as Boston Latin will take possession as some new Whalen players come off the sideline. Michael Davis Francis.
Yeah, I believe Declan Murphy, number 26, was in that too. And a flag on the play. Don't know exactly what happened.
And I think that the Whalen player just absolutely took out a Boston Latin attacker, and I think that's what the penalty's about. Just saw a Boston Latin player hit the deck in a very unusual fashion. We'll wait to see what the ref has to say about that one.
Yeah, Gabe, I know we talked about this earlier, but you see Whalen's top defender, Alex Mealy, number 4. He just looks bigger and stronger than everyone on both teams. He's just overpowering everyone. He's had some big checks so far here today, and I think that's the reason that Boston Latin hasn't been able to get anything going, because Whalen's just been terrorizing them, both him, Philip Notsis, and Michael Davis Francis when he's had a chance. That's why Boston Latin really stagnant in the Whalen defensive zone.
Still waiting to see what the ref has to say about the so-called foul as he threw that flag.
We've had a couple long stoppages, and just a note here, it looks like Matt Morris is back in. I think Zach Inzavino had some time before, but he's back in the game. Don't know exactly why Whalen's coach wants to make that change, seeing as Whalen has this game handily, but that's his decision, and let's see if Boston Latin can try to get one on the board, try to score at least one goal against Whalen this year.
They're going to start it from the 15, back behind the net. He's going to swing it to the right. Fortunately, don't have the Boston Latin rosters for you guys, but we're going to try to do the best we can. Just out to the left. He's gonna lose it, and now Boston Latin with an interception. They're going to take this to the 25-15. They're going to try to set up their offense to try to get their first goal of the game here.
Yeah, Gabe, so far in the second half, it's been kind of different way different, I'd say, than the first half. Boston Latin has spent a lot of time in the Whalen zone. Obviously, some underclassmen in for Whalen, so not surprising, but they've still stayed strong. They've kept the ball out of the goal so far. Let's see if they're continue to do that with some sophomores on the field.
And if I'm being honest with you, we don't know if that's just because their skill is ramped up, or that's going to be actually a goal. Boston Latin gets the first goal against Whalen on the board, and they narrow the lead, Whalen's lead, to 6. Now get a goal on the board. Whalen 7, Boston Latin 1.
Yeah, couldn't really see what happened there. It looked like everyone was kind of walking, and I believe number 13 for Boston Latin, who's at the center circle right now, just kind of standing there, got the ball, ripped a shot, and they got on the board. So that makes it 21-1 this year, Whalen against Boston Latin overall. But at least they're able to get on the board as Monroe loses another face-off. And it'll be Boston Latin ball. So overall, Whalen, I know, obviously up a lot, but looks like their energy is kind of decreased as the game's gone on. and that's why Boston Latin's been able to get some opportunities, and that's why they've scored.
Now a Boston Latin player hits the deck hard. Now a great save from Matt Morris. A shot from really close in. Matt Morris shows his senior leadership and maybe gets the momentum back on Whalen's side after that goal with a miraculous save. It's a big truck there.
Jesus Christ.
From
Will Monroe.
Will Monroe.
Checks a kid. And, you know, that's what got them the big leads in both the games they've commentated so far. Just being more physical than the other team. Whether it's Will Monroe, Philip Nazis, or definitely Alex Muley. As Boston Latin gets through and scores. And that's 2 straight goals for Boston Latin. Not a good sign for Wayland. Looked like everyone was kind of just looking around. Don't know what they're doing right now. But yeah, they better clean this up because they don't want this game to come close as we near to the final quarter.
Yeah, to me it just looks like Wayland's taking their foot off the gas pedal. They thought they just had this game won. Boston Latin, although the lead, Wayland still has a 5-goal lead. Boston Latin showing they're not down and out yet. Wayland 7, Boston Latin 2. As we're going to go back to midfield with just over 7 minutes left to play in the third quarter. We're going back to midfield for Will Monroe to get a face-off.
Yeah, just pretty terrible play so far from Wayland. They haven't done much in the Boston Latin defensive zone, and they've really not done much as Boston Latin tries to make something happen here as this game wears on. Down 5 goals still.
Yeah, now Rubis back to the top to Will Carr. Carr's going to have it. He's going to pass it up to Coppola. Coppola swings it behind the net to maybe Billy Cosart, I think I saw that 7 in there. This pass will be to Will Carr. Will Carr will take it back to the 40. He's going to try to beat his defender, and he does. Swings it, pass gets blocked by a Boston Latin player in a fight for it. I think Boston Latin will have it. He's running up the field to the 45-40, 35. He's going to try to make his defender miss. He's going himself, 30. He loses it. Wayland picks it up.
Great defense there. I believe that was Ryan McDonald. He just hounded him until he got the ball back, and I believe that'll be... Oh, and the play wears on. Boston Latin with the steal of their own, and they move up the field trying to have this lead, or almost have this lead, from 7 to now 5. Could make it 4 here with the goal. And Gabe, we saw the clock a little while back. There's still almost 20 minutes left in this game, so you know, we talk about Wayland taking their foot off the gas. If they do that too much, Boston Latin, before you know it, could have this inside of 3 goals, maybe 1-2 goal lead for Wayland with 5 to 7 minutes left if this pace keeps on. So, yeah, Wayland really needs to pick it up.
And now, Wayland's going to keep taking this up the field. Not sure who has the ball right now. And now I see it.
I believe it's Dylan DeRubis.
Rubis with the ball, kicks it out to Monroe. Monroe fakes a shot to McDonald. McDonald to Coppola. Coppola, it's almost the post. I think that was a little off the post, and it's going to go out, and Wayland will retain possession. That's Cosart behind the net, keeping possession.
Yeah, and Wayland finally gets a good offensive sequence there. As Cosart gets away from a defender.
And now Wayland's trying to work this around. Here's McDonald trying to mix his defender, and he somewhat does. Defender gets back, plays good defense. McDonald looking for a teammate. He's actually going to take it inside. He's going to score. Ryan McDonald taking his defender one-on-one. And now he says Boston Latin looked like they had the momentum on their side. McDonald takes it right back and extends the lead to 6. Wayland 8, Boston Latin 2.
Yeah, he had, I believe this is his second goal, but yeah, I think that's 2 Wayland players now with 2 goals, with Carr and Ryan McDonald. And just a great play, gets through pretty easily from behind the goal, gets through Boston Latin's defense as another face-off loss for Wayland, for Will Monroe. But his younger brother, Chris Monroe, comes to the rescue, gets the ball back, and Wayland will set up again. Mealy sends it long. And Whalen still has it. And a little high, I believe, for Coppola there. And Boston Latin will stay with the ball.
Now Boston Latin will take this up the field, looking to sort of snatch momentum back after that great goal from Ryan McDonald. It's going to be great defense from Whalen. They char the ball loose. Whalen's going to take this up. It's Billy Cosart taking his defender. He's going to keep going. He's going to try to rip a shot. No, he's not.
I believe he was trying to pass it or fake the pass there just to get behind so Whalen could set up. Gives it to Dylan DeRubis. And now, let's see who's setting up. James Waldron, who will go through, bypass Chris Monroe. And it looks like a more traditional varsity starting lineup out for Whalen right now. So the coach kind of sensed that the momentum was shifting towards Boston Latin with those 2 goals and put his best players out in the field again. And it's Monroe, kind of Euro steps a player, gets the ball back. Nothing doing.
Just flying around. No one really knows. Boston Latin.
A breakaway opportunity here. Chris Monroe trying to sick check, but Boston Latin keeps it. A flag on the play. Advantage, I believe, is going to be played here. And Boston Latin will stay. I believe it's delayed penalty on Wayland. Probably Chris Monroe.
Yeah, I guess that stick check, he probably hit something he wasn't supposed to hit. Just, which drew the flag there from the referee. And now Boston Latin loses the ball. Whalen will take it, but now the advantage ends, and now I believe now Whalen will be penalized, and Boston Latin will retain the ball.
Yeah, and Gabe, talk about a turn of events, just to bring it up here. Boston Latin scored 2 goals, cut it to a 5-goal lead, and had an opportunity in the Whalen zone, but Ryan McDonald had the steal that kind of prevented that. I know it got stolen back quickly after, but that stopped what could have been an opportunity to cut that to 4 goals, which would have really completely shifted momentum to Boston Latin as number 24 gets the ball, and Boston Latin used it behind the goal and is trying to set up something here, but that steal by McDonald and gets a goal on the other end. That completely shifted the momentum of this game back to Whalen, so can't be understated how important that was.
Oh, and a big hit from Alex Mealy, just absolutely levels a smaller Boston Latin attacker. He's slow to get up. Hopefully he's okay, but just a big hit from Alex Mealy.
Yeah, and he's used to delivering those. I mean, he's just laid some kids out here today, so yeah. Obviously, hope he's okay. You know, never want an injury to happen, but yeah, it's a tough sport, physical sport, kind of like a football with less pads, I guess you could say. Whalen has the ball here, and getting by a bunch of defenders here is, I believe that was one of the DeRubis twins. Not sure exactly who, might not have been, but as Boston Latin on the break now.
All right, now Boston Latin can take it. He loses the ball. Now Mealy's going to pick it up. Great defense by Mealy just to take it. He's going to get tripped up here. He's not going to like that. He's going to start defending well. That's going to be a penalty on Boston Latin for that trip. I'm not sure that's allowed.
Yeah, and you could see that stick check just absolutely just whacked a player and got the ball back, and he's just been just a beast on defense. Both the games I've watched, and obviously all the other games we haven't. He's the leader of this Whalen defense, and he's playing like it today.
Now Boston Latin player will jog off the field, and Wayland will start with it at the Boston Latin 45-yard line with DeRubis. Rubis pass to McDonald. Oh, that's Monroe, actually. Monroe to McDonald. To DeRubis, behind the net to Cosart.
I believe Dylan DeRubis there, and McDonald shifts it across, gives it to Coppola, who gives it back behind the net to Cosart, who comes up, gives it to Dylan DeRubis, and you can see they're trying to feed either Coppola or DeRubis, two of their best goal scorers. So give it back to Cosart behind the net. He comes up, gives it to Dylan DeRubis, and he has a shot blocked. Picks it back up, or tries to, Wayland keeps possession to Rubis now.
That shot was blocked by Boston. That's an arrogant pass, but Ryan McDonald is going to give it up to Chris Monroe.
And Kosar gives it in, and a missed shot by Shane Rubis there. So, good offense though, just not able to finish at the end. And Wayland's kept, so far in the second half, they've mainly kept their best players out. So, they sensed, I should say, the game getting away from them, and they've taken the momentum right back with that Ryan McDonald goal, and the lead will stay at 6, 8-2, as Mealy, again all over the field, just harassing Boston Latin as a team, I should say. Trying to set something up here is Boston Latin number 24, who I believe scored already once.
Wayland is just gonna absolutely surround him with all their defenders, and Wayland's gonna win it back. This is Michael Davis Francis. He's gonna take this up the field sprinting. You can see that speed. Davis Francis is gonna hit this up to someone. That's gonna be the end of the third quarter. Wayland 8, Boston Latin 2. We're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna be back right for the fourth quarter. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Hello everyone, welcome back to Wayland Student Press Network's live coverage of Wayland Varsity Lacrosse. I'm Gabe Leikerman, alongside me is Aditya Welling, and we're here in the final quarter as Wayland leads Boston Latin 8-2. And Aditya, final quarter here, I think Wayland can really close this game out. They're up by 6 goals. What do you think it'll take from Boston Latin to really put a dent into this scoreline?
Yeah, obviously it was 6-0 coming into that half. And Boston Latin scored, Wayland made it 7-0, but then Boston Latin scored 2 quick goals, had the momentum on their side, and then like we talked about, Ryan McDonald had a steal on one end, and on the other end scored a goal that completely took the momentum back for Wayland. And that's where we sit right now at 8-2. It was a tied quarter there at 2-2. So I would say it's a net win for Boston Latin there, considering how they have fared so far against Wayland. But yeah, you never want to put it past the team, but I wouldn't put it as much of a possibility for Boston Latin to win this game. I'd just say, I guess, to kind of save their dignity here, try to score some goals. Right now, the season score is 22-2 for Wayland against Boston Latin. So just able to score some goals here, cut into that overall deficit, I'd say would be big for Boston Latin. As the goalkeeper, who's played a great game. You can't say enough about Boston Latin. I know it's 8-2, but Boston Latin's goalkeeper hasn't had much help from his defense overall, and has just played great. Has had some great saves on some great Wayland players. So let's see what they can do here.
Yeah, and it's a loose ball here. Wayland gets possession, And
Brilliant spin move there by Ryan McDonald. Gets by a couple of players, and he's behind the goal. Looks like he'll pass it out to, I believe it's Kosart on the other end. We'll bring it out to the side of the goal. And to start this fourth quarter here, we can see Gabe Whalen has all their big guns out there. Will Carr makes a spin move on the edge, gets the ball in, and it's scored by Ryan McDonald, who has the hat trick here today. First hat trick of the game. And gets an assist from Carr, who has 2 goals. So 2 leading scores for Wayland. Connect to make it 9-2, get the lead back to 7. And just a great goal there, Gabe.
And if I'm not mistaken, Carr actually has multiple assists in this game as well as goals. Both of those guys have just been all over the field offensively, and they extend the lead to 7. Wayland Warriors put up 9, and Boston Latin has 2. And we're going to go back to the face-off here with Will Monroe, who has been
pretty unsuccessful, to be honest, in this past third quarter. So let's see if he's able to win this one, and he, after a little bit of a scrum, he does.
Passes it to Durubis, and then this will...
Chris Monroe will set up the offense. Not the first time. He's ripped a shot every time he got the ball, like we talked about before. Let's see if he does it again. He's given to Taylor Shue, who gets in, has an opening, and he scores. Another goal.
With a great goal, great run through that defense, and that's double digits for Wayland. They put up 10, and Boston Latin still sitting there at 2. 8-point game.
Yeah, 2 quick goals, and this is how the second quarter, if I'm not mistaken, began. I believe it was 3 quick goals for Wayland that ballooned the lead out to, it was 2-0 at that point, so ballooned it out to 5, and that was the point of no return for Boston Latin. So we're trying to do that again as we see another new face, Nathan Mazakopis, at the end with the distinct red helmet we talked about before. So he's in number 23 at the top of the screen, and Michael Boschetta, number 47, at the bottom of the screen as Monroe, long face off here, and he comes up with it. No, he doesn't.
Still a loose ball. Michael Boschetta will take possession. He'll take this up into the Boston Latin zone.
Yeah, and a little bit of a lag there, but I believe it was Will Monroe kind of limping off the field a little bit, so keep an eye on that as a flag is called. Don't know who was on. Kosart was on the ground, so
I believe it was on Boston Latin players. And now the referee will sort things out, but I believe the foul will be on a Boston Latin player. And now it is play is paused right now. And sorry, I don't know what that sound was. And
a little bit of another delay here. Had a couple of these so far in this game.
Refs are waving the flag around. I'm not sure. The refs having a talking to some of the players. Now, Boston Latin will take possession. They're going to air this one out. It's complete down the field. Now,
Boston Latin, you can see just getting hounded by, I believe, Mazakopis and, not mistaken, on helped by Graham Lee. Doesn't take much action today. But yeah, Boston Latin hasn't been able to get anything going, and no different here.
Now, Boston Latin will keep possession here. He's going to try to make his defender miss. Now Boston Latin will retain possession of that shot. He was the closest. Now Theo Melman will be on the defense end. Now the goalie, Zach Anzavino, is now back into the game as Matt Morris will take a rest for probably the remainder of this game. It's about midway through the fourth quarter at ETS, so really no reason to put him back inside.
Yeah, no doubt he played for a little bit there. As Boston Latin shot bounces over the goal. Boschetto, I believe, was closest to it, so Whalen will take it out. But yeah, no doubt. Morris was put in for a little there, but no need for his services, I guess you could say, anymore with this game heavily in hand. With Wayland up 8, and Another new face we should talk about, just trying to bring up everyone, is Ben Chen, number 13. Hasn't had much playing time so far in this game, but he gets it here.
Now this ball will be loose. Whalen will pick it up. Graham Lieb with the pass forward.
And gets it behind the goal, and he'll try to feed it in. Can't. I believe that's Dylan DeRubis.
I think Ryan Desmond seeing his first action. Obviously, the last game we commentated, he was the only JV player to actually get himself a goal. So, really making a name for himself. And now he's out here, middle of this fourth quarter.
Yeah, and Mazkopis gives it to Kiernan. So it looks like it's all JV out here right now for Wayland. See if they can try to make something happen as Mazkopis is getting hounded by a Boston Latin defender. He gets in, though, and he keeps it, and it's blocked. But a great run there by Mazkopis.
And that's definitely some talent. Malsakopis, he is also in our class, he's a sophomore. He's one of the most athletic kids I know. He seems to be good at almost every sport he tries. He's one of those kids, and he's just athletic, and with that speed that he has and that toughness, he just gets into that. He just gets through Boston Latin defense. Sadly, couldn't make him pay, but just a great run, and really what you like to see from a young player.
Yeah, no doubt. He's a great football player as well, as you talk about in our grade. Actually, my neighbor, but yeah, just overall a very athletic person. And you can see in that run there, though, that not only is he athletic, but he's skilled in terms of lacrosse. Puts a lot of time in to keep that ball after being hounded by at least 3 or 4 defenders. So, yeah, Wayland's got a lot of talent, I guess, to stay coming up the pipe in their sophomore grade. We already talked about Chris Monroe, talked about Ryan Desmond, who both scored goals in games we've commentated. And that's not even bringing up Chris Kiernan, number 35, with the white helmet, and then you got players like Theo Melman, number 40, and Michael Davis Francis, who's a junior but doesn't get much playing time. He could get a lot next year with Dylan DeRubis coming up, and he scores.
Dylan DeRubis putting what seems to be the dagger, which I think the dagger was already hit, but he just adds insult to injury here. Wayland 11, Boston Latin 2. And you also talked about the youth development here in this Wayland lacrosse program. Chris Monroe, who is one of the, honestly, he's so young, but he's one of the best players in this Wayland lacrosse program. And he's actually leaving next year. He's going to Groton, which is a private school, and he's not going to be here, which is really a bad blow for Wayland. And now Monroe face off here, and I think the ref will signal that it is Wayland ball. And now Boston Latin on offense here. Not sure how much time is left. And now Boston Latin on defense. Boston Latin on defense here with a little under 6 minutes left to play. A little under 6 minutes left to play in this one, as Boston Latin, offensive player is going to trip. He's going to try to get this in here. He does a spin move, getting harassed by defenders. Ball's loose. Wayland, amazing defense, great team defense there to really surround the attacker and force that ball loose.
Yeah, sorry, I had some technical difficulties there, but I'm back, and Wayland up 11-2 here, up 9 goals. Boston Latin trying to make at least something happen here, as try to circle the goal.
And now Boston Latin pushing, balls loose. Wayland looking to get it. Boston Latin retains possession. Number 20 looking to take this. He's got to have a free shot, and it's going to hit the side of the net. That's Zach Anzavino. He's going to air this one out up the field to about midfield here. It's going to be picked up by, obviously, out of bounds. I think DeRubis will take it up the field. He's going to try to look for a player. Pass to. pinged it. Wayland working it around. And Dante Copeland, I know he's not in the game, he's taking a rest that he really does deserve. He was quiet this game, scored only 1 goal, which is something we're not used to seeing at least, but he's easily the best player on this Wayland team, really not getting any action. And I think really this Boston Latin coach was like, let's make someone else beat us. And guess what? Wayland stepped up to that challenge, judging by the scoreline.
Yeah, no doubt. Ryan McDonald, Will Carr come out for 5 goals, more assists, and don't know who scored there, but I believe it was Dylan DeRubis. I believe that's his hat trick, if I'm not mistaken. Could have been Shane DeRubis who had the other one, but I believe
it was
yeah.
Shane DeRubis who had 1. Now Dylan DeRubis gets his second. Yeah. Dylan DeRubis gets his second goal of the contest, puts Wayland up by double digits, and surely this game is definitely over. A little over 4 minutes left to play. Wayland up by 10. And now Monroe, I think it's Monroe, the ref is blocking the number on the jersey, but Wayland on the face-off here, and it's going to be a tough one. It was Monroe on the face-off, and it's going to go into the Boston Latin zone. Don't know who's going to come up with it. I think a foul will be called on someone. And now Boston Latin will look to end this game on a positive note, trying to get at least 1 goal back as a ball. Pretty bad pass. And now
Philip Nazis sends it long. Can't hit Ben Chen. But right now with the ball is Dylan DeRubis, gets it behind. Gives it to, I believe, Billy Cosart behind the goal. Gives it off to Ryan Desmond.
Now Wayland's going to try to reset here. Now Wayland making a run. Going to look to shoot this one. It's wide right. And now this will be Wayland ball as Ryan Desmond, closest Wayland player to it. Closest player on the field overall to it. Now,
yeah, unfortunately we don't have number 34 in our roster. At least I do not believe we do. But one person we have not seen, if I'm not mistaken, is number 24, Charlie Bolivar. I don't believe we've seen him in any of the games we've commentated so far. So yeah, it's something to just note. Could be missing something there, but yeah, just an observation.
Now Boston Latin taking this one up. Pretty easy run. It's a drop pass. You can see Boston Latin player really frustrated. Hits his stick on the turf pretty hard, pretty violently.
Yeah, obviously, you know, young high school kids, teenagers, really competitive, trying to win such a physical game as Mazepopis, bring the ball out, tries to switch fields, but yeah, definitely frustration. Probably, or obviously, a lot of seniors are going to be on Boston Latin's varsity team, not the way they wanted to go out with what figures to be in 1-10 season. Don't know how many games are left, but no doubt a losing record, you know, losing double-digit games. Never want to have that, so frustration is not surprising as DeRubis
from DeRubis, a very
fights for the
defender.
ball. And you can see overall, and another frustration from Boston Latin, he kind of seems to shove DeRubis there, a little extracurricular activity at the end. But yeah, overall frustration on all the Boston Latin players. We can see it with a little over 2 minutes to go in this decided game. But let's see if they can cut into this, make it, you know, single-digit lead or win, I guess, for Wayland instead of surrounding this 10-goal lead. And they could do that right here. Boston Latin shoots,
scores. Boston Latin, after frustration shown from that actually exact player on one of the occasions, he takes it out on Wayland and gets a goal and makes it a 9-point deficit. Still really nothing to play for, but ending the game off on a good note unless Wayland gets a goal in these final 2 minutes. But now, 9-point game here.
Yeah, ironic there. Number 3, I believe, for Boston Latin was the one who scored that. Reminded me a lot of actually Will Monroe, number 3 from Wayland, who had a goal very similar to that, where he kind of from midfield, from the face-off, just runs through the opposing defense and finishes at the end. So good goal there for Boston Latin to make this a 9-point game. Let's see if they can score another one. Try to chip into this before the clock hits 0.
Now this will be taken by Wayland. Possession will be taken. They're going to take this up the field. Philip Notsis gonna run this one. He's going deep into the zone for a defender. He's gonna give this one up all the way behind the net here.
It was Dylan DeRubis who's trying to get his hat trick.
Now Wayland slowing it down a bit. 45. Unsure who that one is, but
yeah, number 45, not on our roster again, but could be any one of Tommy Burke or. Yeah, it could be Tommy Burke. Not sure exactly who that is. But
or
Ryan
it could be some
Desmond
JV
gets
player.
checked.
That's gonna be a
And
flag
that's going to be
too.
a flag and more frustration from Boston Latins. And I believe that's the same player, Gabe. Number 3 for Boston Latin, the guy who scored, who also shoved Dylan DeRubis at the end of the play. So he looks like he's visibly angry at the result of this game.
Taking it out on some of the Wayland players. Not really the right way to.
Yeah, no
take it
excuse for extracurricular, angry acts, but we can no doubt see why he would be frustrated. Wayland looks like if the score holds, looks like they're going to beat Boston Latin by a combined score of 26-3, which is not very pleasant, I guess, to go through if you're a Boston Latin player. But let's see if they can cut into that a little as they are on the break here. Number 24, I believe, scored already in this game. Moves it cross field, and the ball is kept in the Wayland zone by Boston Latin. By the urgency, we can't see the clock, but it looks like the game is winding down. He scores.
He scores a goal late in the game to really narrow the lead down to 8. Really just trying to up the goal differential, but really won't matter. This loss for Boston Latin will give them double-digit losses in the season. They now have 10.
Yeah, only 2 seconds left in this game.
And Wayland improves to 8-5, which is a very impressive record to say the least. They're currently sitting at 4th in the Dual County.
Yeah, and 4-game win streak, 6 out of the last 7 here for Wayland. This time won't win by double digits, but will stay in double-digit goals. In terms of score differential and goals scored, one of their worst games of the past 4 games. That just shows how well they played. And the clock hits 000s, and that'll be it. Great game, Gabe, to commentate. Had some spectacular goals, spectacular assists, and you can sign it off for us.
Yeah, that was a great game. Wayland 12, Boston Latin comes all the way to the Wayland turf only to put up 4 goals. Wasn't enough. Didn't play up to par with Wayland. And Wayland will take this one, improving to 8-5. Boston Latin falling to 1-10. It's been Gabe Leikerman. I've been joined by Aditya. Take it easy.